Okay. All right. Okay.
All right, so a very welcome to our COASTAR mini symposium. Why is it called a symposium? Actually, probably it should be called more like a graduation ceremony for our fellows. But yeah, we are very delighted to celebrate the journey of our fellows here, together with our COASTAR mentors. We're having a little bit of a technical challenge here at the moment, but we're sorting this out. Okay, we're good now. All right, so we had a little bit of a hiccup for the time frame, but I think we are on track now.
Yes.
So COASTAR stands for Empowering Malaysia's Future Leaders, and I'm sitting with all of these future leaders here in our room, both virtually and physically. And COASTAR stands for Coastal Ocean Actionable and Sustainable Teaching and Research. So this is just a reminder of what today is about. It's about celebration, a showcase of the efforts and outputs. I don't really want to use the word outputs, but I guess that's an okay word to say it, of our fellows. And also a time for reflection. So we had a reflection session earlier today, and we're going to share some of these insights later on. But we thought that, it would be appropriate, right, to kind of have a recap of our year-long journey in 2022, and we're coming to 2023 now. So COASTAR really began, with a group of brilliant mentors coming in together. And then we began the process of recruitment, brilliant COASTAR fellows. And today with us, we have 9 people. We did start off with a bigger group in the beginning, but, due to life events that we've had, some people sort of decided that, they're not able to commit, but, it is still a brilliant group that we have with us today, and we're here to celebrate them. We've had a whole bunch of activities, and shown here is the series of our knowledge sharing webinars that we have had, and we're going to see a video highlight later. And some of these networking engagements, the fellows might not really know about, but we've had some engagements with ADEC that resulted in a webinar that Mark delivered about active learning. And we also had an engagement with the International Relations Office, and we are now in the process of inking an MOU between University Malaya and ENU. So that is forthcoming. So that's one of the fun things. And we're now going to be watching a video of our activity highlights. So enjoy. Thanks, well. I didn't have this photo.
Why not this? You know what? I guess.
I had that, but I couldn't access it. Oh, that's me now. Oh, shit. The CC monkey do. Thank you so much, Rashid, for that. For putting together this video. I believe he was working very hard late last night or early this morning. So thank you. So that. So that was a recap of our immersive field trip, and we've had Mariam recording this in a blog style article, which is now live on our COASTAR website. So do have a read to get a little bit more details beyond what you saw in the video. Obviously, there was a lot of eating that we did, and some human-wildlife interactions that been recorded partly in the video as well. So I think it doesn't do the entire justice, but it was really lovely to see a recap of all of this. So that was very, very nice. So now we sort of move on to another part, and I'll hand over this time over to Anita and Gronier to talk a little bit about the research communication, interdisciplinary and international partnership aspects.
Hi, lovely to see you all again, and great to join you virtually. Such a shame not to be there joining in the physical experience again, because it was such a privilege coming over to Malaysia and meeting you all face to face. So we have so as Amy sort of said earlier on, we had and you saw a couple of pictures there, when we were over with you in Malaysia during some of the time the fellows were working on, or you were all working on sort of your bite-sized videos and various other sort of interactions. We had the joy of having a couple of strategic meetings with sort of senior leaders within the University of Malaya, and what that really set was a little bit of sort of work in motion to consider the kind of collaboration opportunities between and Edinburgh Napier University. And these things never happen overnight. It takes a little while to kind of to sort of get the sort of formalities progressed. But what's fantastic is we've done various bits of work at sort of this end. I've contacted all my different departments in Edinburgh Napier, the sort of student mobility team. Gronya's obviously embedded in the sort of research and innovation enterprise department, but also our international operations. So everybody's very keen to really take what was initiated through COASTAR and turn it into something sort of really valuable. So what we've got is a draft memorandum of understanding, and what that looks at is the relationship that we can have with the University of Malaya to look at particularly student mobility, opportunities for CC students to travel, be undergraduates or postgraduate students to do exchange trips mutually between the two universities. There's a possibility there of also staff mobility. And then the other thing that we're really interested in looking at is the potential for either joint PhD supervision, potentially ultimately joint PhDs, but that will take a little bit of time to sort out. But we recognise that there's a lot of mutual and complementary sort of strategic direction between the two universities, and the appetite is there for both to collaborate. So as I say, as Amy said, we've got an MOU that's sitting with certainly the Napier names all set in it now, ready for the University of Malaya to kind of go through, make sure they're happy, and then hopefully we can get a virtual signing. I would love to come over for a physical signing, not that it's me signing it, but you know, I'd be happy to escort anybody who would come for that. But I think these things tend to be the sort of formal I guess agreements between two institutions that then can underpin lots of great further work. You know, we'd expect to see the potential for some of the conversations that were started through COASTAR around about coastal ecosystems to be continued through further research bids, which might open up PhD opportunities, but equally the opportunities now based on the relationships we have to set up sort of global mobility partnership. So I probably didn't have much more to say than that, but happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Anita. And in my panic, maybe to juggle a bunch of things, I completely forgot that, you know, Mark was gonna actually start to say something. Sorry, Mark, didn't mean to forget you. So I'm gonna pass the time over to Mark. I know he has tons of things to say. So over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Amy. I was just enjoying everyone else's contribution and thinking about how much fun we all had as well. So it was really lovely to see the film. In terms of... Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, Mark.
I got an echo.
Should be fine now, yeah.
In terms of introductions, I was reflecting on some of the rationale, the reason for COASTAR and why Amy and I thought it would be a good idea. And looking back 30 years ago, a little bit more now, when I did my PhD, first of all, I gave little thought to how my science, the science that I was studying, might interact with policy and might affect the outside world. I didn't need to worry about that. I didn't worry about how the science that I was doing on ecology and estuarine food webs would interact with other areas, other disciplines, what economists might think of it, what sociologists might think of it, anthropologists. I didn't need to worry about that. I didn't even worry about how that science might help me get a career. I wasn't too worried about that. I thought that would just come in the future. So times have changed, and we now expect PhD students and early career scientists to somehow develop all of these skills and to think about how their science will be interdisciplinary and have high impact, and how they will develop those soft skills as well as the scientific skills to forge their way in careers. And that's really challenging for people. And so Amy and I were really keen to do something that might help support people face those challenges. And of course, both of us are mangrove freaks, but mangroves in blue carbon just bring together in such an obvious way these interdisciplinary challenges. So it seemed like a good opportunity to bring the knowledge and the experience that we have working with mangroves and other coastal ecosystems, and to talk about all these challenges, the scientific, but also the personal and career challenges that young scientists face. So that was what we attempted to do. I hope we managed it. I certainly really enjoyed the journey, and I think the way that everybody, all of the fellows, rose to meet the challenges that we presented to you was exemplary, and it's been a fantastic experience. So that's all I wanted to say.
Are you sure that's all, Mark? You,
Of course.
There's no philosophy.
you know, I thought you
No
were gonna
philosophy this
say
morning.
things like, "Oh boy, you Malaysian lots eat too much," you know, and that's probably true because we're still eating at the moment. But Mark, it's really been a pleasure working with you on this, you know, and to recollect the journey. It's I think based on the reflections that we'll share in a short while, you know, I think we did pretty good, Mark, in achieving some of our objectives and goals for the project. So but we'll get to hear from some of them. And I thought I'd pass this time over to Bronye. You can see.
Yes, she's.
Hello there, good morning, good afternoon. It's lovely to be back in a virtual room with everybody. It's a shame that we're not there in person, but I don't think COASTAR's budget would have stretched to a second trip for us over to Malaysia. But like Anita and Mark, it was a real privilege to spend time with everyone when we were there earlier this year, and it's lovely to see everybody back together again for this closing symposium. I think I was asked to give a little thought to how we build research collaborations. And I was thinking about some of the things Anita mentioned, the formal aspect of things, getting agreements and documents signed off between different organisations and things like that. But I actually think there's a step before that that COASTAR really is a great example of, and that's the informal people-based activities, getting to know each other, understanding who we are as people and what our shared interests are. And for me, that always forms the basis of a really good research collaboration. All of the paperwork, and I work in the research office, which is inundated with paperwork, so there's a lot of that to happen. But actually, when I see examples of research collaborations that work and produce great outcomes, it's always driven by the people that are involved in the project. And I think Amy and Mark and Anita and the other colleagues between and Edinburgh Napier and our fellows show that in what we've been working on collectively over the last year or so. So for me, I think we should always sort of keep that in mind, that a lot of this activity is driven by us as individuals. And one of the things that I think we got the privilege to have time together was an opportunity to then explore our shared interests. We heard about everyone's passion for the mangroves, fiddler crabs, all the different little projects that people were involved in. And that's really important to understand who it is that you're going to be working with in a research collaboration, even down to drink tea, coffee, how often you're going to have to stop for food. All these things are really important to understand each other. And I think that forms a really solid basis then for research activities. And like Mark said, research has now got a lot of things put upon it from different organisations, the funders, our governments, society. Everyone's really interested in what we're doing and expecting to see impact come out of our research activity. So thinking about that as we develop any project and any collaboration is really important as well. So I think I was really still take as a really strong memory the dedication towards solving some really challenging big world problems that we have at the moment with climate change, net zero, and ecology, and sort of sorting out our difficulties that we've created for ourselves. And I think that really shone in terms of that's a really And I think that's an example of them being able to spend time with people and understand what is important to each other, what gets you excited, how we come together, and how we can actually work on things with everybody involved in the project. So while there's lots of things that are collaborations, as Anita mentioned, with memorandums of understanding, and the sort of, I think for me, the driving thing for a good research collaboration is getting to know the people that you're working with. And I think COASTAR has been a fantastic example of people sharing their ideas, sharing their interests, and really open and sharing. That for me shows the foundation for a fantastic ongoing collaboration. So it's been a real privilege to be involved to universities and with our fellows in future. So I think I'll stop there and see, I think there's maybe a couple of hands up, or is it maybe one? That's Anita. You're doubled up.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to sort of absolutely come in again because I wanted to echo exactly what both you and Mark said, Gronya, because for me, I didn't really, I mentioned obviously the sort of some of you said the formal aspects, but I think for me, I wanted to just reflect again on how positive the experience was for me personally, coming to meet you all in Malaysia, and how rewarding and I guess important I found that reminder of the different challenges people face. We're all human beings, we all have different challenges, whether we're at early career or sort of more advanced in a career. And as Gronya said, it's the relationships and the fact that we're all human beings that will underpin any successes, us solving big world challenges, us getting through the next day. And so it's the fact that you've had we've all had this fantastic experience to meet face to face and sort of develop these relationships in a sort of fairly trusted and sort of safe space. Use these relationships as you go forward, because they will be really supportive for you as you go through whatever path your career, your research takes. You don't need a grand plan, you just need a next step, but you've got your crew around you, so use them, because I think it can really forget that actually all these, whether small or big advances, are all rooted, as Gronya and Mark said, in human activity and human understanding, and those human beings need nurtured to be successful. So yeah, just to use your networks around you to make that, to make those steps. I will certainly pick up the phone or drop a Teams call or whatever to my newfound sort of fellows. Well, my kind of, between the mentors and yourselves as fellows, I think it's been hugely rewarding. So yeah, just a huge privilege, and to get the chance to actually get up and close to get up close and personal to mangroves was obviously very special as well. So yeah, just it's been a great experience for me personally, but make sure you all use that experience moving forward.
Thanks, Anita and Gronya. Those are really heartwarming words. And before Hong Ching left, the words that she gave was fermentation. Good things take time, like a good bottle of wine. Not sure if I really should mention that, but that those were the words that she left with the fellows. And I think those are, but there's nothing truer than that. You need time, right? To get good at things, and relationships take time too. And we've been really fortunate to forge some really good networks and relationships here. So that's really awesome. And of course, we are also here to showcase, behind the scenes, all the hard work that the fellows have put into. And to kickstart this, we're going to move into getting to know the new module that we're going to be launching under the Bite-Sized Climate Action. And for this introduction, I'm going to pass this over to Associate Professor Dr. Helena Varkey. Over to you, Helena.
Highlight my share.
I just thought, right? Do I have to unmute? No. Yeah. No, you can. Is it my notes?
Okay, thank you so much, everyone here in the room, as well as those of you who are online. I am very happy to have a few minutes now to talk about sort of the project which the fellows have been working on for the past year as a side project, I guess, in addition to all the other things that they've been doing for COASTAR. So the logo that you see on the screen is our bite-sized climate action logo. This is a project that I, along with a few of my other colleagues in University Malaya and University of Nottingham, Malaysia. We got a small project funded by the British High Commission Kuala Lumpur last year. And it's kind of, I mean, it's unrelated to anyone here. So I'm very happy to have been able to make this connection this way. But the angle of this project was that we thought that there was not a lot of educational resources on climate and climate action, which is, you know, a more Asian focus or Malaysian focus anyway. So a lot of the climate materials out there were about polar bears, melting icebergs and stuff like that, which we felt that it might be a bit hard for Malaysian and Asian students and also adults even to relate to. So with a small amount of money, it was only actually about 12,500 RM, which is not a lot actually. We got some student RAs to help us, and we got to use, I mean, we learned a lot ourselves to develop sort of what we call a series of uniquely Malaysian, free, fun, flexible, and immersive short modules on climate action. So what we did was we created 6 modules: electricity, transport, food, forest, waste, and change. And it's available on the website, which we'll be showing you later. And it's also been adopted into some of the elective courses in University Malaya and University of Nottingham. So we teach it as an elective course, me and my fellow research partners. And Eva, who's one of the fellows as well, is also helping us on one of the modules. She's going to come in and talk about climate activism, actually. So Amy contacted me asking me to get involved with COASTAR, sort of from the angle of science communication. So I thought, okay, let's see whether we can build upon what is already here. So our idea was that we could create a new module. Coincidentally, water was something when we collected our feedback for bite size. People were like, how come there's nothing on water? So there was a gap there. And then we thought, okay, very, very nice fit. So we thought, okay, let's get the fellows to work together with me and my colleagues and also my student RAs to develop a water-based module. So during this 1 year, we've had a few sessions, discussion online and offline, where me and my partners, we kind of guided the fellows into sort of shaping the module in the same style as what the other modules were, because we wanted to fit quite seamlessly into our other modules of the other set of things on the website. But at the same time, I think we were able to also give quite a lot of freedom and independence to the fellows to explore things, how they wanted to present their ideas and all of that. At least I hope so. So what you will see later, which Chuck will go through, is basically the shape of it, the sort of the narrative of it, or the style of it is very much in the bite-sized climate action. But the contents, the choice of information presented, the storylines and all that is very much from the fellows themselves. We will also be including this new water module into our elective classes next year. So the fellows should be very happy to know that this will go further, hopefully much further than this. Yeah, we will be teaching this to our students and hopefully they will also benefit from it as well. So that's all. And Bite Size is very happy to support this initiative in this way. Thank you.
And with that, over to you, Chuck. You now have the center stage to showcase the water module.
All right. Just allow me to get it over. Yeah. All right. Get some. Okay.
We're having water shortage issues right now.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think we're having more flooding issues at the moment, but it's got nothing to do with what's happening right now.
All right, thank you very much. I think this is how it looks like. This is the original bite-sized climate actions layout. This is where the module located at, and this is where you're supposed to click. But from the link itself, this is how it looks, the overall layout. So at the very beginning, you will see this BSCA and also COASTAR, since it's a joint collaboration. So this is the announcement that we're launching this, and we're launching it right here, right now together. And welcoming all of you again to our climate action module on water, specifically on water. So there are basically 5 steps on how to go about it. So I will go through one by one very swiftly with all of you. So the first part is definitely there will be a pre-module quiz just to test how much you already know regarding water module. Second, which is slightly heavy, that we have the videos, infographic, podcasts, as well as TikToks. So this is our main content in this particular module on water. Subsequently, on step 3, we have, after completing the video, infographic, podcast, and TikToks, we're going to test you again, whether you have improved your knowledge, awareness about water. And subsequently, we also added a little bit further information, such as reading lists, as well as resources, to ensure that you know whether you have improved or enhanced your knowledge. And last but not least, after going through this water module, you are free to also jump into other modules, as you could see in the screen right now. All right, so without further ado, let me just quickly show how it looks like in taking the pre-module quiz. So you just go into the website as given. So you just click on the quiz, and there are basically 8 quizzes, okay, short quizzes. So it's multiple choice questions. You're just going to click what is the answer. For instance, I'm going to click on random, all right? And you will see my final results that I have 4 out of 8 correct, which means I'm not very sure about the contents itself. So it means I need to read and learn further about it. So as I scroll down, so this is a video on how to reduce climate-related water crisis. It's about 6-minute video, but we're not going to do it together, but I'm just going to show you how it looks like in a rough idea. So this is what the team has worked on. And in terms of the video, we have few team members or fellows that are working on this. We have Afifa, Hana, Fasni, and also Noraini. Thanks to all of them who are working hard in preparing the scripts and contents for this. All right. As we move down, this is quite interesting. So it comes as an infographic where every drop counts. So if you go to the left side, it actually symbolizes the short abbreviation for COA. Subsequently, we have STAR, and that stands for our program name, COASTAR. And let's just quickly go through what is the first C. The first C is consume less, followed by ongoing maintenance. That's for O. A is adhere to a usage limit. And next we have S, which is for smart flushing, followed by T, which is turn the tap off. And then we have A, avoid running water. And finally, rainwater harvesting for the R. So as you could also see from this particular short and very interesting infographic, we have the indicator on the top right, where we have the impact scale from left to right, where left is just one single water droplet, and subsequently having 3 water droplets, showing that that is a lot that we can save by going through this action. For instance, you could see over here the A here for adhering to a usage limit. If you could adhere by doing so, we could save up to 280 liters, and that's a lot of water, and that's a lot of impact we can do for the environment. So same goes for the others. Feel free to go through, for instance, the rainwater harvesting and others, which have a lot of impact that we can do for our Mother Nature. As we slowly go through the other parts of the contents, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that the infographic was done by myself as well as with Rashid to get it done together. And next we go into podcast. I could see we have Dr. Amy Tan here, and podcast was done by our fellow, which is Eva. All right, so this is basically how it looks like, and this is basically a 15 minutes video to showcase the contents on ocean health. So we can have a very quick 15 seconds preview on how it looks like.
Bite-sized climate action is all about the things that you can do to mitigate climate change, from adopting simple climate-friendly habits to spreading awareness to family, friends, and others in your sphere of influence. In this episode, we are joined by fishery science expert Dr. Amy Then Yi Hui and turtle conservationist Ms. Eva Vivian Justine from the Coastal Ocean Actionable and
All right, that's just a very quick glimpse over the podcast, and it is basically featured in the Spotify if you just click on it over here. And according to Dr. Amy, so our ocean had actually been incredible in absorbing a significant amount of heat and carbon dioxide, therefore regulating the global climate. But if we do not take strong steps now to lower the concentrations of greenhouse gases, the ocean health and ours as well as in jeopardy. All right, that is our next very important contents in this module on water. And subsequently, we have these three very interesting TikToks. As you know, TikToks has been a trend for our younger generations. So there are a few members, especially the key person here is Mariam. All right, she has taken the lead to complete these TikToks. So we'll take some time, just quickly go through all of them, which is very interesting. It features some of us inside as well. Maybe we're going to look into the first TikTok video.
Did you know that climate change is threatening the availability, quality, and quantity of our freshwater supply? Right now, it is crucial for us to put in the effort to conserve water in our daily life. So, here are some super easy things that you can do to save water at home. Number 1, try to limit showering to 3 to 5 minutes. One tip is to set timer or play your favorite song before you shower. Secondly, you can collect the excess water from when you shower or take wudu in a bucket and reuse the water for flushing, watering the plants, or cleaning the house. Last but not least, try to reuse your cups after drinking water before you wash them. For more info on how you can act for the climate, go to bitesizeclimateact.wixsite.com. Bye!
All right, that's the first video, and now we will see the second video.
In December 2021, major floods suddenly hit parts of Peninsular Malaysia, causing extensive damage and loss of lives. But have we learned our lessons and made sufficient changes to be more prepared to face the next major floods? Let's look at this article written by Dr. Matthew Ashfold from University of Nottingham, Malaysia to learn more. It is important for us to understand the causes of flood. Firstly, the loss of forests and other green spaces exacerbates the effects of floods because tree canopies and roots are important to slow down the flow of rainfall to the river. Historic and ongoing urban development, especially in flood-prone areas, also increases the risk of floods. Extreme rainfall combined with these factors increase the likeliness of flooding. Also, climate change is predicted to cause more frequent and more intense extreme climate events, so we may have to expect more frequent floods in the future. To be more prepared for floods, we need to be more aware of weather forecast warnings and seek out accurate information from verified sources, such as government bodies and news portals. We also need to push our government to create better infrastructure and town planning to alleviate floods, such as the concept of sponge cities. For more tips and info on how you can act for the climate, check out our Bite-Sized Climate Action website. Bye!
All right, that's so interesting for the second TikTok video. And next, the third video. Right.
Did you know the average water footprint of an individual living in Malaysia is 2.1 million liters per year? This is higher than the global average of 1.4 million liters per year. It's important to monitor and try to reduce our water footprint to help conserve water. Our water footprint is made up of both direct and indirect water consumption. While direct water use like showering and doing the laundry is easy to understand, indirect water consumption may not be as obvious to track. Did you know, for example, that some food products have higher water footprint compared to others? For example, an estimate of 27 liters of water is needed to produce a cup of tea. Meanwhile, 255 liters of water is used to produce a cup of milk, and 264 liters of water is used to produce 1 cup of coffee. 1 kilogram of beef uses 15,000 liters of water. 1 kilogram of chicken uses 4,000 liters of water. Vegetables like carrots, on the other hand, consume way less water and only needs 195 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of carrot. You can reduce your water footprint by drinking less coffee and replacing it with tea, and by reducing your consumption of meat products and eating more vegetables instead. Making these simple daily lifestyle changes could have a large impact for our environment. If you would like to know more about how you can act for the climate, check out our website. Bye!
All right, thank you very much to our TikToker, Mariam, and the other team members who have supported to complete these TikToks. All right. That's the main part of it. We have completed the infographic, video, as well as the TikToks learning. Now, we should go for the post-module quiz. So it is the same questions you have done earlier, the pre-module quiz for water. And now, by doing this, you should roughly get a better score. Since you have completed it, so you should have the almost at least 8/8, instead of what I scored earlier, 4/8. So this is something that we should be good at. So now I scored 8/8. Wow, that's very good, right? So you should do the same after going through, because the answers are basically could be obtained from all these materials and components I mentioned earlier, the video graphic, the infographic, videos, as well as the TikToks. And subsequently, we also included the reading list. Okay, so there are 3 main parts here. The first one is for beginner. So it's just going to be less than 3 to 4 minutes reading. And for advanced learner who would like to explore more about the water module, you can go for the water handbook. And this is about near to 30 minutes or more. And of course, for intermediates, who would like to know more about how water can help, you can click over here one by one. And last but not least, okay, we also have the resources. So these resources include certain information, for instance, the infographic references. So if you would like to read further about whatever information we've extracted, you can go through them. And on the other hand, we also included other relevant agencies, associations, networks, NGOs, as well as enterprises, and not forgetting our academia and research institute that related to water module. So feel free to click and read further about them in order to understand what others have done and what we can help to play our part for our mother nature. So, and both part of these reading resources as well as the reading list are done or compiled by Rashid and myself. So that's all for this particular module on water. We are very happy to be part of it. And thank you for your time to go through this. I'll pass the floor back to Dr. Amy.
Thanks very much, Chuck. And with that, we declare the water module launched. Yay! So ribbon cutting ceremony here. Big ribbon. Thanks so much, Chuck. So that is one of the big highlight or output, but there are actually more to come. So the next part that we're going to look at is actually a outputs of from individual fellows as a result of 2-part workshop, which Dr. Jillian, together with her student Man, who is with us here physically in this room, that was focusing on increasing the impact of scientific communication and outreach through video. So this really learning experience from Project Pule, and Pule in Malay stands for healing, right? Or restore, would probably be a better word. So Maman earlier shared, she humbly shared that she learned a lot from the process, but I'm sure the fellows also learned a lot from making the videos themselves. So what we're going to do is actually watch a short highlight from all of their hard work in collating the video, editing the video, and putting the sound together. So please enjoy. It's coming.
One
No,
moment.
that's not the video. Not talking. So I'm sure that many hours and some tears have gone into making those videos. I'm not sure. We're gonna get some of them to talk a little bit about this.
Soils underneath the mangrove forests store carbon as deep as 6 to 8 meters. And these stores can last for thousands of years if it goes undisturbed.
There's an estimated 20 gigatons of carbon stored in mangrove forests. Just to give you a perspective, human beings put 11 gigatons of carbon into the atmosphere every year. So twice the amount of the entire human activity.
One of the faunas that are capable to adapt and survive in such extreme environments are gastropods. The most common species found in Telescopium. The abundance and distribution are influenced by environmental factors, food availability, predation, and competition. Environmental changes can affect the diversity and community of gastropods. Mangrove crabs such as sesamid and ossipodid crabs play the major bioturbating and bioengineering roles through their feeding and burrowing activities. Without this small yet powerful macrofauna, mangroves would lose its ecological function, thus degrading our blue carbon ecosystem. There are still a lot to explore about this unsung blue carbon heroes.
Always think twice before trying to litter our coastal ocean.
Destruction of ecosystems undermine nature's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emission and protection against climate change impact, thus accelerating more climate change and increasing vulnerability to biodiversity loss.
Warmer climate promotes intense precipitation. Imagine the ocean as a pot of boiling water. As the water boils, more water vapor evaporates, hence more moisture collected under the pot lid, which is the cloud. Stronger wind and heavy downpour will then...
In simple terms, the coastal defense structure is defined as soft or hard structures which are located between the land and sea boundaries, used to protect the area against strong tides or waves. And from this, the coastal areas then will be conserved from the natural hazardous events.
Awesome. So that was the series of videos that have been produced. In case you're wondering why did it look a little bit choppy, that's because Hannah and Mariam was spending a few hours just before we started the symposium to take only about 30-second highlights. But the full videos will be available on the website, sort of like, to launch and feature, showcase the work of the different fellows. And we've had Manman share her experience, and I would like to personally invite Dr. Gillian Uy, who is actually the main key person here to say a few words about this process. Over to you, Gillian.
Thanks, Amy. Hello, everyone, and my apologies for not being able to be there with you. Yes, it was with this the intention of the session that we ran with the COASTAR Fellows was we wanted to share with with them a little bit of the experience we've had in putting together short videos, like between 1 to 3 minutes, because that's the length, the duration of people's attention span nowadays. So it was great having Manman on board. Manman is my master's student, and our whole team in Project Pule, which focuses on coral reef restoration. We actually secured funding to get ourselves trained up in making our own videos. I mean, not from start to end, from writing our script to taking our phones out and shooting ourselves and then editing it, putting it to music, and then getting it out there to the world. And so we thought we'd share a little bit of that experience with the COASTAR Fellows. And Manman came on board because she was part of the whole process with Project Pule to then run a few sessions with them. It was so fun seeing everyone's videos because I think everyone just jumped in and said, oh yeah, what you've taught us about camera angles and music and voice and elements, it sounds so difficult. That was the initial feedback. Everyone said like, oh, headache, there's so many things to think about, but what we saw was that everyone thought that, oh, it sounds complicated, but we'll do it anyway. So that seemed like nice energy there. And then we gave everyone their homeworks. They went out into the field during the field trip to take those little short videos of themselves, and had such a nice time to see how everyone tried to put what they learned together. So I'd say good job, everyone. I think Manman said that she also learned a lot from the process. I learned a lot from the process as well, watching how all of you learned and took everything on board. And I hope your journey with creating short videos continues. I see you've done some TikTok videos with Dr. Helena Barki as well for the bite-sized program, which is great. So there's intersection as well between Helena's session with ours. I hope you'll continue down this road with video making, because what we've realized is with a lot of our projects where we have the really dense science findings, if we put it out there on video, everyone just pays a whole lot more attention to it. But if we don't, if we just put it into papers or put it into PowerPoint presentations, we find that there's a lot less attention given to those type of projects. So yeah, like Mark has said, we somehow, scientists nowadays, seem to have to be able to do everything from start to end. We also have to learn how to market our own science. And coming up with short science videos is a really handy tool. So I thank you so much for jumping in with such great spirit in our session. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks very much, Jillian. I'm sure the fellows, well, I don't know how the fellows feel exactly. I won't speak on their behalf. But we actually did have this morning, in case you were wondering, what are they doing in our room? They're just eating and enjoying themselves. That's hardly the case. I put them to an assignment of reflection, which is that's probably something that we needed to do more often than not. Kind of like letting the past or the history, teach us something, that we can learn for the future. And if there's anything that we sort of really learned, it seems like moving forward, I don't know. I think Mark had it probably really easy, that's my personal opinion anyway. Mark, you can feel free to turn on your mic, and jump in and yell at me for being absolutely inaccurate. I absolutely enjoyed Mark's approach of teaching with very low technology, going very easy, just with himself. He just jumped on the mangrove roots and started launching into teaching and stuff. I absolutely enjoyed that. But as Jillian sort of mentioned, right, it feels like we needed to be doing almost everything there. Apart from just a good scientist, you need to be a good writer, you need to be a good speaker. And heck, these days you need to speak, with all kinds of medium, etc. So personally, I feel like if I'm launching my early career research at this point, I'm just going to hire a bunch of TikTokers. I think that's my goal, my research plan for the future. I'm not a TikToker and I'm not interested, but I'm going to hire influencers to do my TikTok videos. But anyway, so this morning I had the fellows virtually and physically do some reflection, and there are a few questions here, so I'm just going to highlight some of the answers that they gave. So sorry to those of you who sent it a little bit later. I wasn't able to incorporate all your answers in here. But the first question I asked was, what is the one feature of COASTAR Fellowship that made it unique from other forms of fellowship, workshop, training that you have attended previously? So for quite a few number of people, this was the first fellowship that they had. So some of the answers, the science communication part, we had to be the content creator. So I don't know whether when they signed up for the fellowship, whether they expected that. But here they are creating contents, you know, they're ready to be TikTokers in their next career if they decided science was not for them. Another comment was that, you know, there was space to share personal struggles and even publish them. Who would have thought, you know, sharing personal struggles is publishable, right? Then we had, you know, another comment about the enthusiasm of the mentors, that everybody had their own teaching style. Thank goodness for that. But, you know, it made it more interesting. And then it also inspired this fellow to want to study more about those different topics. So I think it is pretty obvious for most of us, our mentors and fellows alike, that the immersive field trip and the contents, I'm guessing this is kind of like itinerary, was really awesome, where we got to know each other better. So relationship is another big thing. Another fellow mentioned that this is a truly interdisciplinary program, covering a wide breadth of coastal topics that one does not necessarily find in a university setting. And then another fellow mentioned that, you know, the peer sharing session was valuable. Policy brief too as well, not something that could be learned from a general academic class. So those are some of the reflections that came from fellows for the first question. Then the next question was, what aspects of COASTAR Fellowship and communication training that you found most useful? Please elaborate, especially on how you might apply or plan to apply in the future. And this is actually quite unanimous. A lot of fellows found the policy brief session to be really one of the most helpful one. The speaker, Juan Rubaya, was a very experienced, and the workshop had both virtual and physical components. So that was one. A lot of fellows also felt that, you know, the video making training was also something that was very interesting and unique in learning how to make that as a form of communication. And there was another fellow mentioning that communication with stakeholders really was important to create a real life impact. So overall, those are the different feedback and inputs from the fellows, which is really wonderful. And I was only able to, I didn't want it to make it like, you know, like a whole day of meditation and reflection. So this is just, you know, excerpt about 2 questions. You're moving too fast along. But I just thought that, you know, it might be nice for any of the fellows, especially those that are joining virtually, to share something, or anyone here, you just suddenly recall something that you were burning to say, but you forgot to have it in your reflection paper. So by all means, you know, feel free to jump in and say something. Anybody? You're given 10 seconds. And if the mentors feel like they have something burning to say, by all means, feel free to jump on in as well. But yeah, maybe for the virtual world, if you could put your hands up so that we can have a little bit of orderliness. Anyone?
Anita.
Oh.
Hi there, just
Hi,
quick
Anita.
jump in. That was brilliant watching all the outputs and all the sort of videos and TikToks, the bite-size action, bite-size climates. Yeah, that was really, really fantastic, because we didn't see all of those. I didn't get a chance to see all that activity happening. So seeing those outputs was fantastic. I guess another reflection for me, which we've kind of alluded to, but is I think connected to some of the fellows' reflections. I mean, I particularly with the kind of my role and the importance of driving sustainability as part of our university's commitments, it's quite there's a real focus on our own emissions, and therefore travel becomes under a lot of scrutiny, and rightly so. And I think we are having to make much more justified cases for doing any travel, so compared to what it was just a couple of years ago. But I think for me the importance of the balance of the face-to-face with the online collaboration. So obviously a lot of the video content that you've produced, which is fantastic, allows that reach of sharing. But I think the relationships you talked about have undoubtedly been supported through the face-to-face. It's really for me underpinned that that need importance of kind of a balance of some face-to-face as well as virtual collaboration when you're working with people. And I think that's what's made this programme also really successful. So that was just a reflection for me.
Thanks, Anita. It's okay to have a little bit of silence. I don't see it as awkward because, when it's reflection, it's okay to be silent. But let's break the silence if anybody has anything burning to say. Okay, Hannah had hands up. Okay, over to you, Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, already say.
Just say.
Yeah, just.
For me, I just want to reflect that how inspiring everyone is, because sometimes after having an exhibition or some program, when I came back to my university, I have that hard to move on feeling, and that makes me demotivated. But this time, I had fun, but it's not hard to move on. It's really helped me. It's really motivating. It will make me really motivated. So yeah, I hope it's having this relationship with everyone help me to keep on, keep inspiring each other. I really thankful for this friendship.
Thank you, Hannah. That's really touching. That's very heartwarming. Thank you. Yes, Maria, of course.
I just wanted to say that I think all of us fellows think the exact same thing, that we are so lucky to be here. We're so lucky to be a part of this program. To get all this new knowledge and valuable access to advice that you can't really get anywhere else. It's just a really amazing thing that you guys have put together for all the mentors, all the organizers, and we're just really grateful for all the effort that we put in and for making it so easy and fun for us, fellows, and memorable too. And for me personally, this whole program has been a really good push for me to enter and go deeper into the world of academia. So it's definitely a huge personal milestone for being a part of this program. So I'm really thankful. And I really hope that if COASTAR would have future programs in the future, we could maybe extend to other early career researchers that maybe need more access to this type of skills, and maybe from the poorer communities. That would be a very valuable resource for them to have.
Thanks so much, Mariam. That's a really good insight. I think making things accessible to a wider community would really be, the ultimate goal. And I think that, that will be a wonderful next phase of where we hope to take COASTAR to in the future. So thanks for that, Mariam. I'm looking around the room now, just checking to see whether there's anybody who. Oh, okay. Chuck has his hands up. Over to you, Chuck.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think we have to acknowledge that having everyone, your presence together, including those which is online, is something that we have to be cherished about, because your presence, at the present time is definitely a present. It sounds a little bit cliche, but that's the fact that gathering everyone at the same time, whether it's a different time zone, especially for our Scottish colleagues over there, as well as some of our mentors who are unable to join us here at the venue in UM. Of course, it is something that we would like to get everyone again, but due to a lot of factors, I think this is something that we'd like to also acknowledge. I think throughout the entire months of series of trainings and also all activities have gone through together is a lot of things that we have learned together. I think this is something that is quite memorable. I think I've mentioned in the feedbacks as well, there are certain parts of the contents of the module are quite interesting that we could not really find elsewhere. Even though we have a rather small group of people, which is somehow good, many are good, but few can do better. This is what I would like to reflect upon after completing from a series of programs headed by, Dr. Emmy and the team, as well as even Sulong as the coordinator. All right. I think we learn together. Nobody is perfect. And in fact, I also learned many new things from the other colleagues and other fellows too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck. It just feels like one big theme that kind of goes through is that, we're all learning. And I think that's very true. It's not just the fellows learning. It's not like it's a one-way directional learning, but, myself, I truly learned a lot about how useless principal investigators are, because, I didn't lift a finger in doing any of these videos, and suddenly, it's like, wow, all these output just came out. I'd love to be this kind of principal investigators. We should have more projects like this, folks. All right, before I say any more nonsensical stuff, anyone else who wish to say something else? Going once, going twice. Anyone in the virtual world want to say, want to add to the conversation? I think that's why we call this a symposium instead of a graduation ceremony. So even though this is technically the last formal event for COASTAR, I think about this as really a journey rather than a destination. One day I'd like to think that I would have arrived, but then again, if I've arrived, it's like there's nothing really to look forward to. So I think that, all of us are on a journey, and I'm glad that we are sharing parts of it together. Whether you decide, as Mariam said, to deepen herself in academia, or some of us who are in academia are like, oh God, this is not really actually the thing for me. I want to move on to something else. Maybe I want to be a science communicator. Whatever it is, I hope that COASTAR certainly has played a role in inspiring a journey, and it does seem like it. And I think there's not much else that I can say. I just want to check in with Mark. Mark, did you have anything you wanted to say? Did you kind of envision that, the COASTAR was going to turn out the way it is? I bet you didn't know how much Malaysians love eating. So that was one important knowledge that you gained. Didn't know if you wanted to jump in to say something else, Mark.
So we've said a lot about how great the fellows have been and the mentors. My final comment, I guess, is just to challenge the uselessness of the Malaysian PI. So, Amy, thanks very much for everything you've done. Been impressed with all sorts of elements of how you work and your professionalism, but perhaps most of all, the way that you're able to pull people in is really impressive. And Anita said earlier about the importance of networking and support, and that's not a skill that most people have. So it's a real skill of yours, and you've been well supported, but you've done brilliantly in organising us all. So thank you very much, and it's been a real pleasure.
Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you, everybody. It's been so brilliant working with everybody. And we could not possibly end the day without giving away prizes, because we love being generous. We love parting with gifts and all. So our brilliant postdoc, Sun Long, proposed these 2 awards, which is Best Leadership Award and Most Effort Awards. And because of the nature of the fellowship, we didn't really necessarily have a single mentor working with everybody equally in the same manner. So what we did was we had the fellows sort of go around the process of nominating each other. And I did tell them that they are totally welcome to nominate themselves. So nobody actually has seen all of the results yet except me. And I have gone through careful reading. Thankfully, all of the handwritings are quite legible, so I could actually see whose names are nominated on the board. And surprisingly, it's actually really unanimous. So nobody else knows this result, so I'm going to be the one not announcing it. We need drum roll. Ching. And so, wait, let me get my envelopes ready. Sorry, I didn't have my Grammy Awards hand envelopes ready. Okay, there we go. So we have, I made this last night, so goal. So we have the COASTAR Fellow Award for Best Leadership. Wait, how am I going to do this ceremony then? I think we need to go in front. Okay, sorry, I'm going to move myself to the front.
Choose the one without
I think the rest of my envelopes. And so, the Best Leadership Award unanimously goes to Dr. Chuck. So your teammates said that you are proven to take leadership in a lot of the activities, giving good insights. So thank you for being another good abang sulong to the rest of the team. So oh darn, I forgot to fill this envelope up. It's too thin. Sorry, you got to return it back to you later to give it. So yes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Take this photo.
Okay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for the nomination. Sincerely appreciate it.
another photo for this, for something more solid.
Oh, and why not this from Dr. Amy? Dr. Amy, can I have you together since?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Really unprepared for this. Abang Sulong, you can stand here so that Abang Sulong.
Who should I get? Look at
no idea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for most effort, I was trying to think about how to call this award in a sexier manner, and you know what? Let's just call it most effort. Now, for this award, we actually have quite unanimous votes for 2 persons. So there will actually be 2 persons that's receiving our most effort award. So I'm going to firstly call on Rashid. So fellows called you one that's proactive, one that takes a lot of effort in putting everything together, calling up people, checking on all the fellows to see how they're doing. So I really appreciate the investment of time, energy, and love and effort into creating the kind of scholarship that is really wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so for the time of tonight, thank you. I clearly did not expect 2 awardees, so this one is blank, but this is also still for most effort. Thankfully, I had the insight to bring another envelope. So the other person that whose name also came up a lot is. Thank you, Sarah. So the other most effort award goes to Mariam Jamila. So also you proactive, really single-handedly producing all of the TikTok videos, and being participating in all that. So very editing to yeah. Okay, now you can return back the envelopes. Okay, so that's Yes, please. Sorry, I'll make another new one for you, Rashid. So, yeah, and I think that, sorry, that last slide was intended for you, Sun Long, but you sort of, did you wanted to say one last word of, that's more touching, yeah, after we had the whole afternoon of touching, do you have any more touching words that you want to say?
A touching word. Well, well, because this against a few hours ago, we sort of have a bit of early sharing session, and then I would say that I'm really thankful for all of you and for the support, emotional support, and also especially emotional support, because a lot of time I really need that kind of things. Although when I'm working hard and then I run into trouble and all those things, but then when looking at you guys and though also Afifa is making faces now. And it kind of makes me push me to continue all this. And yeah, it's been a journey for me as well, because a lot of things that as I said earlier, a lot of things that when I working on this, I realized that how clueless and a lot of things that I have no idea about, and then started to learn and then get to know about all the technical and also different interdisciplinary, and also how to managing everyone for the field trip, for this symposium, for the webinars and all those things. So yeah, thank you very much. And also I really want to thank Amy for her patience and and for not how do I say this like give up on me or something like that, because sometimes I kind of make a lot of mistakes and from here and there and all, but I really thank you. And then yeah, and then I'm not sure what I said earlier is touching and all, but then I guess the most touching is that I was so happy that this whole hybrid session can be done without technical expertise at all. Everything was done on using ragtag like MacGyver style. So I'm really happy about that. We did not spend money for hiring any experts on this. Yes, thank you. All right.
Thank you very much, Sun Long. And I think with that, we pretty much have round up our symposium. So I declare this closed. No, actually, I have some more slides. So I have some beautiful slides.
Yes, we do.
I did spend a little bit of time searching for the right picture.
So it was this.
It's the last. No, it's not Pokemon.
Okay.
The last one.
Okay. So we.
Oh no, what happened to my last slide?
My laptop is. Okay, all right.
No, there's another.
Okay, special thanks.
Yes. This is my last slide. I had to have this in here, and it's a wrap. So I was searching around for mangrove and Christmas. That was the keyword I searched in case anybody wanted to look for it. So we are obviously in December. We're coming to the end of the year. So I hope that, this reflection is part of the reflection that we would do, to recount the wonderful growth journey, be it whether you had easy going time or hard time, whatever it is, I wish all the COASTARians, that's a new name that I just coined this morning, a meaningful year in 2023. And so thank you again, everybody, for making COASTAR such a success, and all the best. Bye. With that, we can end the recording.